Welcome to this week's assembly. Kindness is the quality of being caring, helpful, considerate, thoughtful, and generous. I'd like you just for a few seconds to think of a time when someone was kind to you. And think of a time when you were kind to someone else. I wonder how that felt for you. There are many ways which we can show kindness, and you could all think of something. We could have loads of different examples. I've just got a few. When we put away our toys or our clothes at home, when we tidy up our classroom, when we don't leave anyone out at games during playtime. What about holding the door open for somebody? Sharing our sweets? Perhaps just smiling at someone? Every time we show respect, that's being kind. There are lots of examples. Now, I've got a couple of stories for you today. The first one was written a long time ago by a man called Aesop. Now, he wrote lots of stories. They're called fables. And in his stories, often the characters were animals. And his stories were trying to teach something about a moral truth. In other words, a moral is showing a good way to live or good ways of behaving. So here's his first story, or my first story. Lion was a huge animal with big sharp teeth. He was very fierce and he had a really loud roar, and most of the animals were frightened of him. One day, Lion was fast asleep in the long grass when a little mouse walked up and climbed over his mane and across his face, and Lion woke up and grabbed the little mouse. The mouse shrieked, "Help, help, don't eat me, let me go, and one day I'll be able to repay you." The lion laughed. "How could a silly little mouse like you help a big lion like me?" But the lion didn't really want the mouse. It was so little it didn't make any difference to him. So he let the mouse go. Now, sometime later, Lion was walking through the jungle when he was caught in a hunter's trap, and ropes caught around his feet, his legs, and he couldn't get free. He roared and roared angrily, but he couldn't pull free. Little Mouse heard the roar, and she went and found him. Little Mouse gnawed through those ropes, and she set the lion free. "See," said the little mouse, "I told you one day I'd be able to repay you." And so that story shows us that Lion was kind to Mouse. For him, it was nothing to let the little mouse go. He could spare a tiny, helpless creature like the mouse. But that small action ended up in saving the lion's life. Now, the story doesn't mean that we should be kind to people in order that they're kind back to us to get something back. But what it means is that we will never know the difference that something we do, something kind, will help, how that will help someone else. What effect that will have on other people. It could be much bigger than we can even think. Being kind to other people means it will help our relationships. And also, it helps us to feel good inside too. Here's the second story. One day, a young girl was walking in the park with her family. And there was a man walking towards them, and the little girl thought he looked really sad. And so as they walked past one another, she smiled at him. Now, that smile made the man feel happy, and it reminded him of a friend who helped him some time ago. And he thought, he would write to him because I hadn't heard from him for a long time. So he sat down and wrote a letter and posted it. Now, when this man got the letter, it put him in a good mood because the letter thanked him for his help in the past. And he was in such a good mood when he went to lunch, he left a big tip for the waiter, which is like a little bit of money you give to people in restaurants if they serve you. After work, the waiter, who was very pleased with this tip, was walking home, and he was feeling generous because of the tip, and he gave a man in the street some money. Now, this man hadn't eaten for 2 days, and so with the money that he was given, he went to the fish and chip shop and bought some chips. When he'd ate his chips, on his way home, he found a stray puppy that had been abandoned. And the poor puppy didn't look very well, so the man picked him up and carried him home. And his plan was to take him to the rescue centre, somewhere like the Blue Cross, the next morning. But what happened during the night was there was a fire in the house, and the dog barked and barked and barked. He barked so loud he woke everyone up in the house, and they were able to get out of the house without being harmed. So the dog ended up saving the life of everyone in the house, and it all happened because a simple smile that hadn't cost a penny. Think about that. Let's go backwards. The puppy, if it hadn't have been there, it wouldn't have barked. The people might have died. And the man might not have took the puppy home if he hadn't have had anything to eat. And the waiter might not have given the man some money to get something to eat if he hadn't have got the tip. And he might not have got the tip if the man who had the thank you letter was in such a good mood. And he might not have got the thank you letter if the little girl hadn't have smiled at his friend who actually wrote the letter. And it's amazing how our acts of kindness can make a difference. It might make a massive difference. We might never know what difference it makes, but I believe every kind act will result in something happening that is good for someone else, or for a lot of other people, and or for ourselves. Now, I'd just like to say a little prayer, and I'd like to thank God for people who are kind to us and help us. So when I pray, I'm going to leave a little gap so that you can think up to God a person that you want to thank God for them being kind and caring towards you. It might be a mum or a dad or a friend, someone at school, it could be anyone. So I'll pause and you think them up. And if you like my prayer, you can say amen with me at the end. Dear God, thank you for people who do things in our lives that help us feel happy and loved. Thank you for their kindness. I especially pray, thank you for, Kate, there's my pause, think that person's name up to God. Bless them for the help they give to us, God. Please help us to do something today to show someone that we care about them. Amen. Okay, here's the quiz then. 8 questions. Hope you get on well. Question 1. In the first story, when the lion caught the mouse, what did the mouse say? Number 2. What did the lion do with the mouse? Number 3. What did the lion get caught in? And number 4, what did mouse do? In the second story, what did the little girl do right at the start of it? And because of what she did, that man was reminded of a friend that had helped him in the past. What did he do? And the man who was given some money in the street, he bought some fish and chips. On his way home, what did he do? And number 8, Why did the puppy bark at night and what happened? Let's see if you've got 8 out of 8. Question 1. When the lion caught the mouse said, "Don't eat me, let me go and I'll repay you." Let me go and I'll repay you. Question 2. Lion let mouse go. Question 3. What did the hunter get caught in? You could say what did the lion get caught in? You could say hunter's trap or ropes. Number 4. What did mouse do? Mouse bit through the ropes and the lion was free. Number 5. The little girl smiled, didn't she? When she smiled at the man, he was reminded of a friend who had helped him. What did he do? He wrote a letter to him. Number 7. The man who bought fish and chips on his way home, what did he do? He rescued a puppy or took a puppy home. And number 8. Why did the puppy bark at night and what happened? There was a fire, the puppy barked, woke everyone up and everyone was safe. I'm sure you got on really well with that quiz and I hope you've liked the assembly this week. Bye.